moment for St. Johns.
It's an interesting matchup. You have one team who's found an identity and hasn't had one in a long time, St. Johns, and a team on the other side without Bryce Hopkins searching for a new identity. Still going to be an interesting one here in the Mecca.
Yeah, Providence is trying to rebound, trying to find their footing after losing Bryce Hopkins for the season with a torn ACL. Starting lineup sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. They're going to have to lean on Devin Carter, coming off a season-high 25 points, 10 rebounds against Creighton in a loss on Saturday. St. Johns, their point guard, Danis Jenkins, he's been wonderful. Enters today second in the Big East in assists, fourth in the Big East in steals. Rick Pitino's club off to a great start, 11-4, 3-1 in conference play. They have not gotten off to a 4-1 start in conference play since 2001. Kim English and his team, they're going to have to make some tweaks. They're still trying to find their way with a slightly, well, I shouldn't say slightly, it's a very different look without Bryce Hopkins the rest of the way. Underway at the Garden as St. Johns controls the opening fifth.
And the most glaring thing for Providence is the rebounding. You know, you lose a huge piece in Bryce Hopkins on the glass versus the best rebounding team in the Big East and one of the best in America.
Providence, by all their numbers, the top defensive team in the Big East. Brady Dunlap, he's been a revelation, the freshman who barely played the first month or so of the season. But he's started back-to-back games now, and he hits the mid-range J.
Yeah, averaging 14 a game in those starts. And the interesting thing is, you know, talking to Coach Pitino, is he belongs here. You know, it's not like a guy just walked in off the street and, you know, hung up his running sneakers from just being a daily jogger. He's a basketball player.
Providence taking a while to get into their set. Devin Carter off the mark.
It wasn't like Alex Faust just walked off the street and started scoring.
Oh, Danis Jenkins hits from deep.
Another bright spot. Talking to Coach Pitino, and you ask, you know, those guys who come from mid-majors, what's the biggest difference? He said, well, listen, you can say that there's a huge difference with guys like Danis Jenkins, but he was just overlooked. That's why he was at Iona. He belongs where he is, and he's been showing that the last 6 or 7 games.
Matchup of the bigs will be interesting to watch. Josh Oduro, 13 in black, against Joel Soriano. 3 off mark from Corey Floyd. They're trying to get him going offensively. He's been wildly inconsistent to start the year.
Yeah, his minutes have been up and down, in all fairness to Corey Floyd Jr. You know, you play 10, then you play 3. You play 20, then you play 8. It's sometimes as a player, you can't get into a rhythm, not just physically, but mentally understanding when you're going to come in the game. Well, now a great opportunity for Corey Floyd Jr. to get some extended minutes.
Turnover from Soriano, and a walk along the baseline on the inbounds from Jaden Pierre. And well, Providence was gifted the ball off a turnover from St. Johns, but give it right back.
Talking about that margin for error when you lose a guy like Bryce Hopkins, those are the situations you just can't have. And Kim English knows that, especially on the road.
First time that he's coached here. He's played here, but it's a little different when you're on the bench and go through all the game day routines. 5 to shoot, Dunlap. Hits again! That's a 2 for Dunlap, but told the New York Post, you know, he came to St. Johns. He didn't expect to play a ton. He just wanted to get better and better, and by every indication, he has been lights out in practice as well as in the game.
Well, you can do both, Alex. You can play and get better. He's showing that.
What a start for St. Johns. Looking a little bit like how they started against Villanova, where they scored the first 10 points of the game on Saturday. Tap back out. Dunlap unconscious to begin the game. Timeout, Providence.
Oh, you talk about him coming to St. Johns saying, hey, I wasn't sure I was going to play this early, but you know, the best way to get experience is with experience. It's the only way to do it, and he's getting a lot of that. Rick Pitino trusts him. He believes in him. And half the battle when you're a young player in college is you have to believe you belong there. If you want everyone else to believe it, you first have to believe it. And at least the last 3 games or so, Brady Dunlap has shown St. Johns and the rest of the Big East that he belongs.
Quite remarkable. Prior to the home conference opener against Butler last week, he had 18 total points, 66 total minutes, Those are the numbers from the last 2.
Yeah.
Never mind the points he's already put in, the 6 already tonight.
The other part of it too, Alex, is that he has teammates around him who trust him, who not only are rooting for him every time he makes a basket. And you know, in the beginning it was, they were laughing, it was cute, this is funny, a young guy coming in, who does he think he is? Now his teammates respect him and they look for him to get buckets, and that opens up everything for a guy like Joel Soriano.
Providence, you know, we talk about their battles without Bryce Hopkins, and certainly that's a huge miss. They still have a lot of talent. This is a team that has gotten off to a great start this year, 11-4 record, won their first 2 conference games, and they were leading Seton Hall in the game where Hopkins got hurt, only to let it slip away late last week. They battled hard against Creighton over the weekend, got within 1 late, outscored 13-5 in the final 4.5 minutes. This team plenty capable of an upset, but going to dig out of an early hole. Carter walked.
And that's the aspect of the game that when Brady Dunlap is trying to guard a guy like Devin Carter, it helps that they're in a zone. He has some help. He's not quite ready for that one-on-one, but you can hide guys like that who just aren't comfortable in their own skin on the defensive end just yet.
Jenkins, wow, that first step against Carter, pulled off the rim. And again, I don't want to mischaracterize for Providence either. This is a team that was ranked in the top 25 as recently as a week ago. They play stout defense. Can they score? That's the question. Pierre steps in and hits the 16-footer.
Right on the money. Jaden Pierre tells you, yes, we can score. And he's another one of those guys that Kim English is going to rely on to be more, be better. Everyone on the floor, everyone on the team for Providence has to level up. You're not going to replace Bryce Hopkins. We know that. But there are opportunities for guys, and especially guys like Jaden Pierre.
Bounce pass for Soriano, gets knocked away, and a foul on the loose ball with Pierre trying to grab it and run out into the front court.
And that's more like Providence defense, getting up into guys, gumming things up, and not just the Providence of old. Kim English is Providence. I know most people are used to seeing these black uniforms and thinking, oh, it's going to be a fist fight. Yes, they will do that, but they have some guys who can really play, great athletes. They just can't become jump shooters.
This is a team that likes to move quickly.
There you go.
Pierre, speaking of, though, misfired, and it winds up in the hands of Dunlap.
That's what they have to be, getting downhill, forcing Joel Soriano to try to block some shots.
Aline stripped. And here's Pierre. Numbers for Providence. Carter back for Pierre. Up top, ticket gains, unmarked. Yeah. Buries a 3.
That's a really nice job. Carter and Pierre talking to one another on the wing, and now all the eyes are in the corner, leaving ticket gains wide open up top.
I talked to Kim English at the shoot-around, and although his offense has been a little inconsistent this year, they have loved his play on this end of the floor as Aline hits the mid-range.
Another one of those pieces for Rick Pitino, a national champion with University of Connecticut last year, so he's got that pedigree, Naheem Aline.
Freshman Garwi Duo behind the back, trying to connect with Oduro, who couldn't secure the ball. 3-on-2 for St. Johns up court. Hello, R.J. Lewis.
You know, as we talked to assistant coach Steve Masiello for St. Johns, he said Lewis is one of those guys that we just wanted to keep it a little more simple. Terrific athlete, but a lot of home run plays the last few games. He doesn't need it. He's too good for that. Great job of giving it up and getting it back.
He has a lot in his bag of tricks, that's for sure. Gaines looked like he traveled.
They called an offensive foul there.
Offensive foul, too.
And R.J. Lewis is just an electrifying player. Understands space, give it up, get it back. A little old school basketball right here. The Johnnies running, gunning, sharing the basketball. Good one here, folks, at Madison Square Garden.
That's one. It's a Big Ten battle. Tyson Walker leads Michigan State
with the pull down
as the Spartans look to take down 10th-ranked Illinois.
Bam!
Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on FS1.
St. John's hoping to regain a share of first place in the Big East standings. Seton Hall, a half game ahead of them, squeaked by Georgetown last night. A 74-70 victory, and Providence mentioned that 2-0 start. They have lost back-to-back coming in. They are tied for 6th with Marquette. Part of the story for St. John's, the emergence of freshman Brady Dunlap.
Yeah, I think when you come into a game and teams, when you're not on a scouting report, it's a little easier to kind of get going. But he's had a couple of games now. There's been enough time for teams to understand who he is and what he does. And no one's really making him uncomfortable. He's a catch-and-shoot guy, and that's what he's started doing in this game tonight. Too comfortable if you're a Providence fan.
Dunlap already off to a terrific start, and we're wondering if Chris Ledlam will play, listed as questionable for St. John's with an ankle injury that's bothered him the last couple of weeks. He's missed 2 of the last 3 games. Came back for 1 game, but got shut down again. They just don't want to push the issue if he's not 100%.
Well, you and I talked about a little bit. You're definitely 100%. I'm not. When you don't do anything, you're 100%. When you don't have any activity in your life.
Right. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Jenkins hits from 3. Wait a minute. You were the one sitting in your car driving an hour 45 down here. I walked from the subway through Penn Station up here. I got more steps than you did today.
I like how long it took you to figure out what I was saying. That was awesome. I have your full attention now.
Yes, yeah. 17-5 St. John. Duo guarded by Lewis. Timer down to 4. Pierre probing, drifting back, fadeaway, gets hit, and a bit of a bailout.
Yeah, that's just a bad ending to a good defensive set. I mean, really, it was about 20 seconds, 19 seconds once the ball got across half court of great offense, but that's just lack of experience. Conway can't get in the game and now set his team back. You have to, when you're a sub, the one thing you have to understand is you have to elevate the team. Your energy has to be better. You have to play smarter, and that's just a late contest. You did everything you're supposed to do. You can't foul and bail the offense out. For Providence, what are they going to do on the interior? Again, this team was already a pretty happy jump shooting team at times this season, even with Bryce Hopkins. And now when there's no inside presence, it's really going to be a challenge for them.
I want to see how many touches Joshua Durrell gets in the paint tonight.
Yeah,
he might unlock that interior.
Agreed. He's important, but with Castro in the game, he's an active player. He's a second shot player. There really is nothing, unless they post up a Devin Carter.
Rafael Castro, 30 in black. Dingle probe. Jordan Dingle, nowhere to go. Jenkins at the logo, look out! Off the mark. And there's Ledlam right on cue. We were wondering if he was going to see playing time. Quick trigger, right back to Dingle, who hits the 3.
And Dingle's one of those guys that, again, much like Bryce Hopkins, you could feel that a big game was coming, and St. John's is going to need him to have a big game, not just today, but consistently. Probably the last piece for them to really be taken seriously every single night. Dingle's important for them.
15-point lead already, and time winding down again on the shot clock. It's Carter who's hit by Conway. That's the second foul for Sean Conway, the VMI transfer.
Sean Conway has to know you cannot foul jump shooters. This is just extra effort. It's, again, with all due respect to the players and the coaches that have been here before this season for St. John, that is a play you didn't see a lot of from this St. John's team the last 5-8 years or so. One of those extra effort plays, 50-50s.
Well, and the extra passes, too. I mean, this is a team that's top 50 in the nation in assists per game coming in.
And that's could be the most exciting stat for St. John's fans.
Right.
When you bring in so many new players, Alex, sometimes guys are like, no, this is my team. No, it's his team. Whose team is this? I'm going to show you. And Coach Pitino's really done a nice job already of letting these guys know we got to do this together. You know, it can't be just one or two guys.
Turnover here for St. Johns. I would say both teams have done well in that department too, because Kim English brought in a couple of transfers, don't forget.
Yeah.
And this Providence team, they seem to gel right away as well. So they have got some work to do here. Carter fades from three, off the mark. Oduro picks up the board. And a second chance for the Friars. Jaden Pierre. We really haven't seen Providence get into their 7-second offense, if you will. Oh, that would have been a sensational take. Carter gets fouled, and we'll head to the stripe. St. Johns opening up a 14-point lead at the under 12.
Get ready for Super Wildcard Weekend on Fox. An historic rivalry reignites as Dak leads the boards against Love and the Packers. Wildcard Weekend, Sunday at 4 Eastern on Fox.
This building, the last time I remember this building being like this are for Big East tournaments. This is incredible.
Yeah. Pitino trying to make Madison Square Garden a formidable place to play once again. We'll take you inside the St. Johns huddle.
Guys, we cannot rotate to the 5-man and leave Carter open. That makes no sense. You would stun at the guy and then go back to him, okay?
And some of these players, like we talked about, they're taught differently based on what their schemes were at their old schools. So maybe they would run at a guy and then you trust a teammate to run at the next guy. But Coach Pitino saying, just run at the guy, fake at him, and then get back to the score. They ran at Josh Oduro. There's no reason to do that. And then they leave the lane wide open for Devin Carter. And that's going to be where Providence can really get back into this game. Already, 4 personal fouls for St. Johns and an opportunity to score with that clock stop, get to the foul line. Next thing you know, they're going to be in the bonus. It'll be a different game.
Showed you out of the break, Rick Pitino, 2 years as the head coach at Providence College. He said those were among the best in his career. His favorite memories coaching. Of course, started at Boston University, spent a little bit of time with the Celtics. So, he's from the area here. This is where his heart is, in the New York City area. But the Northeast is certainly where he cut his teeth.
I had a guy come up to me when I came in the building that said, did you know Pitino coached at Hawaii? That's in the mid-70s. That's how relevant this team is. Yeah. And even Coach Pitino again, I'm sure a lot of people didn't realize that he was the head coach at Hawaii.
Yeah.
And this building, I got to tell you, I haven't seen it like this since the Big East tournament. I mean, it is packed.
Carter, spot up 3, short. Ledlam skies in for the board, and that ankle does not appear to be problematic.
Already made a couple good hustle plays.
It's the first miss for Dunlap tonight. See if Providence goes up tempo here. They do. Yeah, Pierre.
You got to get downhill, and because St. Johns, and they will be more comfortable in the half court defensively, Providence has to hit them in their primary breaks.
Well, nobody's going to guard Ejiofor. He'll take a 3, and they'll let him shoot that. Gaines enters Oduro just beyond the lane. A swatting Ejiofor trying to knock the ball free. Good skip past Pierre baseline. Oduro from the corner, short. And there's Carter for the board. Second chance for Carter, and he'll shoot free throws.
Just such a smart player, and when most guards, shooting guards, 2 guards, are trying to get back defensively, he's sticking his nose in. He knows that most 2 guards are not going to box out another guard, and he's taking advantage of that all season.
People would be surprised to know how highly ranked Devin Carter is in terms of rebounding. Hopkins led the team in that category. Obviously, he's out for the season, but Devin Carter not far behind. and especially on the defensive glass. Carter's going to have to carry the day. He's averaging 20 points per game since the start of conference play. I asked him English about his leadership and stepping up. He said he sent a text message once they learned about Hopkins' injury. He sent a text message to Kim English right away saying, I'm going to pick up the load. I'm going to put this on my shoulders. And Carter has done just that. He comes away with the steal and finishes in the front court.
Right on cue. And you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that he has to shoot more. He's just got to lead more. He's got to get other guys involved. And right now he's down.
Yeah, well, he got knocked down away from the play, and he is in some discomfort. Wound up being a 5 against 4. Take a look.
And that's a tough one. Whoever the big is, maybe that's Oduro already back. That's usually when you want your big to yell, hey, pick coming. It's a little bit further from the basket.
I'll walk back to the bench, but appears to be okay.
He's a tough kid, too.
Yeah.
You know, that's a part of it. You know, in conversations with Kim English, Devin Carter has to trust his teammates also. You know, it's a huge load for him to be a scorer and a rebounder, that leader, but also to trust in his teammates because he can't do everything. He's capable of all those things we talk about, but you just don't want to put that much pressure on one guy.
Just checking the inbounds here.
Devin Carter has to go out because he was injured.
He has to sit out play. That was good. Hey, good on Providence for trying to keep him in. Nobody noticed. Well,
not with look, Matt Potter, Evan Burrows, and Doug Shows. They know exactly what they're doing. So can't pull the wool over their face.
Until that last St. John's basket was an 8-0 run for Providence. Floyd trying to go downhill. Tied up in the lane. Oduro in a bit of trouble. Tries the pocket pass. Knocked away. Hits the deck. Picks up the loose ball. And Floyd gets grabbed. Ragged possession. And again a foul for St. John's.
Providence is doing a really nice job of staying with the play and pursuing downhill, meaning trying to get the ball to the basket. They see the shot clock's running down. 4 or 5 seconds. They're not settling for jump shots. Again, these fouls are now starting to pile up a little bit, and the pace has changed also. You've gotten St. John's out of their comfort zone a little bit.
Tough pass. Dunlap with the defense. Here comes Dingle, but he lost the handle. Floppy. First touch for Rich Barron, freshman from Chicago, off the mark from 3.
And he can do that. Just got to get a couple more times up and down the floor, get his legs warmed up.
Dangle guarded tightly by Oduro. That's a tough look. Nicely done. Barron for Providence getting a little bit more playing time. We have the injury and the subsequent struggles for the other freshman, Garwi Duo. Here's Barron baseline. And hit the underside rim. Dunlap a bit of the front court. It'll go out off of St. John's, or off of Providence, back to St. John's, I should say.
This is a really nice job by Dingle, probing, using the screen there. Nice little floater. I just think that's the Ejiofor effect. Could have just gone up on that first side, Barron.
Yeah, my mistake. Credit Ejiofor the block. Dingle off a high pick. Off the mark from 3. Battle for the loose ball. And a foul. So go against the Friars. Oduro picks up his first.
When you lose a player like Bryce Hopkins, you have to sharpen things up. You know, you talked about, you know, emphasizing, setting better screens, better box outs. All those things mean something. It's just not cliches that coaches are yelling at you. Things have to be tightened up.
And communication, too.
Even more so.
Ejiofor leaves it for Jenkins. Off the shot fake. It's Ejiofor trying to lower the shoulder. He lost the handle. Well done by Oduro to force the turnover. Number 7 for St. Johns.
If not for the 1 for 6 from 3, Providence, they're right there. If they make 1 or 2 of those, and next thing, it's a really different game. They have slowed down that early pace when Dunlap was knocking down shots and St. Johns was getting out in transition.
Bounce pass. Oduro, hello! Over top of Ejiofor. Goodness.
Wow. I think that surprised everyone, including Ejiofor. What a finish.
Held under double figures for just the first time this season. Just the second time this season, their last time out. Aline. And this will be given back to the Friars. Carter into the front court. One-on-one with Wiltshire. Spins his way inside. Couldn't get it to drop. And a tie-up underneath. Providence battling back.
Yeah, they really are getting downhill. Got their own pace, and this is how you finish the ball, young people. Get up and throw it down.
Well, that was in the preseason. Little did he know what was going to happen during the season. And Bryce Hopkins going down, out for the year with the torn ACL. Kim English trying to keep his team focused to that workman-like attitude. Let's go inside the Providence huddle.
Discipline, ball screen, pocket pass, dunk. Simple, man. Sprint back, do our jobs, contest every shot, limit them to 1. They're not built to guard us in the half court.
A really nice job because he basically touched on the offense, what they're doing, how they finish. But defensively, this Providence team's first in the Big East in scoring defense, 30th in the nation, and that's one of the aspects of Bryce Hopkins' game that was so much better this year. He really, Kim English really challenged him to be a better defender. And when you do that for one guy, your leader, everyone else falls in line. So it shouldn't have to be said more than what we just heard for the players in the black uniforms to understand the defensive end is just as important to their success tonight.
The inbound here is Oduro, baby hook.
So good, such great touch down there. He's never in a hurry when he catches that ball and he turns over that left shoulder, and it's impossible to block. And again, they've chipped away and back in this game.
That shot in particular has been tough for anybody to go to start this season. Ledlow swirls it in off the window.
You know, if you're Providence, you're happy with kind of what you're getting on the offensive end at times, but you got to be concerned that you're down, and Joel Soriano has not taken a shot for St. Johns.
Here, lost it out of bounds. It'll stay with the Friars.
So it's scary because other players are beating you. But on the offensive end, this is what Kim English talked about in the timeout. Pass the ball, find the right guys. Before it was a dunk down the lane by Oduro, and there, soft touch over that left shoulder for a jump hook.
Carter will back this out. Pierre, double-digit performance over the weekend. Oduro kicks it out. Duo 3, no. And Soriano tried to tap it back out. It winds up in the hands of Gaines.
Tell you what, that college basketball term, stick-to-itiveness, that's what comes to mind when you see what Providence is doing. Yes, they're still down. They have to figure some things out on this end of the floor still, but they're staying right in this game by those extra effort plays.
St. John shooting 58% from the field. Oh, this 3 is off the mark. Lead. How about Lewis? Mentioned he has every trick in the bag. A superb athlete and a tremendous finish.
Yeah, one of the best athletes, not just in the conference, but in the country. They're trying to get him to dial it in just a little bit. Doesn't have to go for the home run play every time. Just So talented, so gifted.
Just his third start dealing with injury at the beginning of the year. Carter with 7 to shoot. Floats it back for Pierre. Pierre guarded by Lewis, and Pierre unable to convert on the reverse.
But he's got to continue downhill. He's got to continue to force the issue, that point guard spot.
Jenkins attacking the rack. Right now, St. Johns cannot be stopped offensively.
St. Johns just has all the right weapons in the right spots.
3 off the mark from Gaines. There's Soriano pulling down the board and clearing. Aline, one-on-one with Pierre, backs out. Jenkins around the Soriano screen, lost it, got it back, came up short. Lewis pumps, puts it up, wouldn't go, and Oduro clears ahead to Carter. That's nice transition basketball. Carter limping a bit, coming back into the backcourt.
He just gives his body up every play. He really does. He's a handsy player defensively, Devin Carter, and that's what makes him so good, coming up with steals. And right now gives Providence a chance to get into a little bit of a zone.
Yep. And we've really seen that here tonight. Deep 3, Jenkins. How are you going to guard that?
And had been struggling a little bit from 3, especially before that Villanova game.
Only 26% of the season. Nice pass, Pierre.
Such a hard shot. One of the hardest shots in basketball is that 8 to 10 footer along the baseline, but to jump in the air, catch it, and go right back up and knock that down. Talent.
Soft hands.
You know about that because you don't do it. All you do is talk. You're 100% soft hands.
Really? See the calluses from all those years playing tennis. That's a real tough guy sport there, yeah.
Show the calluses at halftime. Get some pictures of that. I need some documentation on those calluses.
Oduro, Mr. Carter threads the needle, but this is given back to St. Johns after it was swatted out of Oduro's hands by Aline.
You got to be an athlete to finish like this and to have calluses from playing tennis like Alex Faust, supposedly.
All right, Rob, see you in just a bit. How about this last night? Number 1 and number 2 losing on the same night, both to unranked opponents.
Yeah, Houston got beat at their own game. Kelvin Sampson was upset. Really nice job by Iowa State. And Purdue, how about Fred Hoiberg, just them giving him a chance. Sometimes administrations just don't have patience, but really starting to pay off. And that's what college basketball is all about, you know.
Tell you what, St. Johns, you talked about the buzz in the building. They've been hitting from deep all night.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you play against the zone, your coaches say, let's switch sides, get the ball inside, and that'll make some threes easier. But they're not, Providence isn't closing out on Jenkins. I think they're playing the numbers, but at some point, the scouting report says you shoot 26%. But if he's made 2 already, you got to play him a little bit differently. And obviously, Brady Dunlap's not sneaking up on anyone anymore. So got to make adjustments in game, not just based on the scouting report at the beginning of the game.
Providence defending not only from the field, from 3. They've been pretty good at that all year. Best team in the Big East field goal percentage defense coming in. Not so much tonight. Approaching 3 minutes to play in the first half. A 10-point lead. The difference of the game, pretty much the 9-0 run for St. Johns at the start. Floyd attacking, rolls it off the rim. Rebound, Oduro in trouble, needs some help. Soriano on him. Oduro escapes somehow. And then it's coughed up. Numbers for St. Johns. Lewis on the step through, gets hits.
That was great anticipation by R.J. Lewis on Corey Floyd Jr. Just knew he was going to the middle of the floor and beat him to the spot. Take a look. I mean, he literally knew where Floyd was going before he did himself. And then once you get in the open court at the rim, it's game over with Lewis.
Mentioned that he was dealing with injury. Broken hand prior to the season. Came back from one game in November, then sidelined with shin splints. And he's kind of been fighting his way through that ever since.
So he's not 100% either.
Correct.
So the theme here is when you play and you're active and you do a lot, you're never going to be 100%.
True.
That's...
Remind me how your drive went?
Well, when you have calluses, so you might not be 100% either.
That's true, you know.
I always said, if you're 100% this time of the year, you're not playing at all. Right. it's pretty simple.
44-23. Pierre got into the lane and threw it away. Right back this way.
I love Jaden Pierre, but he doesn't have to pass to me.
No, that was a nice effort by you. Nearly almost leaned over.
Well, listen, I didn't want you to get another callus by reaching for that basketball in front of the table, Alex. I got to protect my play-by-play guy.
Exactly. How do you think I wrote down all these notes? It's Lewis. 11-point lead for St. John's. Under 8 to shoot. Lewis attacking, took steps. Oh, he bailed out by a foul. I thought that was a sure trap.
Great call, Alex. I thought he got bailed out as well. Jaden Pierre did a nice job of almost trying to beat him to the spot, but giving him some space and then closes down. Whew. That's a tough one for Kim English to take.
Yeah, Pierre with the foul.
I agree with Kim English, too. He's not happy about that one.
Slings this to Soriano. You know, you mentioned earlier he hadn't had a touch yet inside, right on cue.
Shooting 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, I mean, they're up 13, and he's got one bucket.
Jenkins with a foul here. 1-1 for Providence. St. John's, all those early ones, putting the Friars in the bonus.
That's going to be their 9th, potentially, and 10th free throw of the game, Providence. But they got to start making some. They've only made 4. You know, again, it's all about that. You just have no space for any type of deficiencies when you lose a player the caliber of Bryce Hopkins. Not that you have to play perfect, Alex. You got to make your free throws, the things that you're used to doing every day.
And that's the front end of a 1-and-1, though. An offensive rebound for Oduro creates a second chance, which results in an air ball.
And you see it all the time. You miss the front end, and now you force up a bad shot under duress.
Providence, by the way, just 64% from the line since the start of conference play. So I'm going to keep an eye on. Soriano bodied up by Oduro underneath. 90 seconds to play in the half. Pierre, spot a 3 from the NBA line.
They're going to need more of that from him. He's got to stay aggressive. He's got that in his game. And you go under a screen, you stop short. You got to respect guards in this conference. Be able to knock that down.
Dingle in the final minute off the pick from Soriano. Didn't work. Duel still on Dingle. And Tingle uses the window.
He's just so good. You know, he hasn't even started to scratch the surface of how good he can be in Big East play.
Answer on the other end, Pierre. As Providence and St. John's trade baskets here approaching the final half minute. Pierre with 12 to lead the Friars. Dingle guarded again by Dual. Got the separation. This time on the left.
He's so strong. Wow.
10 seconds left in the half. Kim English deciding to hold on to his timeouts for the second. Already burning one. Pierre fades away at the buzzer and comes up short. St. John's raced out to a 20-5 lead. Though the deficit was trimmed a bit by Providence, they wound up shooting 57% in the first half, and they have an 11-point lead. Well, they certainly got on their feet a good chunk of this first half at the Garden. 40-29, the lead for St. John's, as we send you to the Jeep halftime report right after this.
We welcome you to the Jeep halftime report, sponsored by Jeep. There is only one. Danis Jenkins, RJ Luis Jr., alley-oop. Johnny's, their largest lead was 15. It's currently 11 at the break. We welcome you inside studio. Rob Stone, Laval Jordan here with you for our college hoops triple header tonight. Let's start, though, with St. John's and another hot start for the Johnnies. Remember, over the weekend, they scored the first 10 points in their win over Villanova. Tonight, they scored the first 9 points, and the hot shooting just continued, as we see in our halftime highlights, sponsored by Jeep.
Exactly, Robin. This St. John's team, look, coming into the year, everybody knew about Joel Soriano. He was the proven commodity, but Danis Jenkins has gotten comfortable. He's a better shooter than what he shot this season. Tonight, he's 3 for 4 from 3. He was a guy that shot 36% last year, and Coach Pitino brought him along with him. He knows the offense, and he's got St. John's offense operating, especially since they've gotten into Big East play at a high level. And kudos to him. Like, the guards, him and Dingle right now are super comfortable. Joel Soriano right now only has 2 points at halftime for the Johnnies.
Only 2 points, and they're up 11, shooting 57% from the floor and 50 from 3. Things are going all right in the Garden for Rick Pitino. Major news today from the college football world. Alabama head coach Nick Saban will reportedly retire after 17 seasons with the Crimson Tide. The 72-year-old, who has coached 28 years in all, won 7 national championships, never recorded a losing season, 292 wins. That is 6th most in the history of FBS football. Kansas, they have won 9 in a row, still dropped to number 3 in the AP poll. Tonight, they take the floor with a little chip on their shoulder and a chance to move up to number 1. That foot injury, that one's coming up later. Second half from the Garden on the backside. Devin Carter, little steal and slam, but his Friars in danger of dropping their 3rd straight. Second half coming up next.
Back at the Garden as we welcome you back to Big East basketball, sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. 40 points allowed by Providence, the most in a first half that they've allowed this season. This St. John's team shooting better than 50% from the field, 57% in the first half. Providence, no points from their bench. We know they have a short rotation, and that's exacerbated by the injury to Bryce Hopkins. But boy, St. John's, they were showing off their depth in the first half. Providence couldn't keep up on the defensive end in that first half.
Yeah, and you know, the bench issue is a huge deal for Providence, because you go to your bench when you have a player that's gone down. So Kim English, I'm sure he addressed that at halftime, but St. John's is comfortable getting up and down. They have so many weapons right now. They're in a place that they haven't been in a long time.
Yeah, this St. John's team got off to a hot start, 9-0 run to begin the game. They continued that through the half, and that's why they have an 11-point lead right now.
Yeah, and if you would ask anyone, hey, how many points you think Joel Soriano has of the 40 points in the first half versus St. John's, and they would say at least half of them. But no, folks. He's only taken 2 field goals, and really it's not because he's been defended well. The points have come from other places for St. John's. And again, we see the record. We're going to talk about more of their history and what they're accomplishing already this season. But what we're seeing is that they have so many more weapons and quality weapons on this Rick Pitino coach team That's why Joel Soriano, to me, the Big East Player of the Year right now, only has 2 points.
Stats comparison sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. It'll be Lewis to inbound. Providence trying to avoid a 3rd straight loss. St. Johns off to their best start to conference play in more than a decade. At 3-1 to begin, a victory gives them a share of first place in the Big East. Dunlap, short, and Oduro the board. I wonder how many minutes Oduro's going to pile up here, especially if the season rolls on. As Carter gets grabbed.
And a little different play with Brady Dunlap with pressure and then pulling up off the dribble versus catching and shooting. Really good adjustment already. Now you got to be consistent with that if you're Providence defensively, but we talked about this in the open. One team that has an identity in St. Johns and one team looking for a new identity, and what you just mentioned at halftime, 40 points by St. Johns, most allowed by PC and a half. That's that new identity.
Gaines off the mark from 3. Rebound couldn't be lassoed by Soriano. Duo driving against Soriano, got the shot up. Rebound Oduro, a 3rd chance, and he couldn't finish the bunny.
Yeah, got to use the glass there. One of the rare times that Josh Oduro didn't know where he was on the floor.
Free pass, Soriano is up against Oduro and will shoot free throw.
I think the next level for a guy like Joel Soriano is demanding the ball. Now, look, I had teammates in college that would demand the ball even when we were up 20 and we were fast breaking the entire game. They wanted it to slow down. They wanted to get their touches because they were an All-American. But for Soriano, he's got to pick his spots. When they're going to a little funk, you see Providence making a comeback, that's when you have to demand the ball as a leader of your team.
I got the sense, too, talking with Rick Pitino at the shoot-around, that there is still room for growth there for Soriano. He's worked on that mid-range jumper. He's worked a ton on passing. That's where Rick told me he felt the greatest area of growth has already been evident this season from Soriano.
I think the ability to pass is one thing which he's had, but the confidence in your teammates once you pass to them or before you pass to them, that's the difference. He's got confidence in the guys who are around him now.
Pierre for Oduro. Back to Pierre. It was deflected all the way. Carter on the drive, guarded by Lewis. Nice take. You're never going to question the motor of Devin Carter.
Never, and that's where I think Joel Soriano has to be better. That kind of next level is you have to help on the drive to be big, to change the shot if you're not blocking it, and trust that a teammate's going to make the rotation to your man that you've left.
Jenkins guarded by Carter, comes up short, rebound, a lead, no, and the Friars have it with numbers. 2-on-1 up court. Carter with the finish. Timeout St. Johns. Rick Pitino wants an early word here in the second half.
Too many shots that aren't under duress for Providence. Really no one in their way, layup after layup. That will get any coach to call a timeout.
Primetime hoops, Saturday 7:30, number 3 Iowa, number 14 Indiana, 7:30 Eastern on Fox.
It feels like Caitlin Clark shoots 100%, but she's not 100%.
Okay.
Just another example of, you can kind of compare your 100%
really
to her.
Drawing out this analogy here. That should be a lot of fun, though, to showcase Caitlin Clark in prime time on network television.
She's special. Yeah. I mean, she's a generational player.
St. Johns up by 9. They've led wire to wire in all 3 of their Big East wins so far. They've won each their conference wins so far by double digits, including against Villanova over the weekend. Now Soriano bumped off the ball.
Great hands by Oduro. As soon as Soriano brought that ball down.
Carter kicks to the corner. Wide open Gaines. Book it. And Providence is starting to chip away here. A 7-0 run for the Friars.
The thing I learned about playing in this building in college and in the NBA is the rims are very forgiving, and you have to continue to shoot. I know Ticket Gaines has struggled a little bit from deep, but you got to continue to shoot the basketball. Very forgiving in here.
He started to turn the corner in conference play, double figures, 3 of the first 4. Jenkins off the mark with the jumper, and a foul over the back.
Yeah, this is what you want. Good hand. Might have gotten away with a little slap on the arm there, letting the bigs go at it a little bit, and that's just too much time. I mean, Ticket Gaines had a chance to, I think I saw him lick his finger and check the wind direction. That just can't happen. You got to close down on guys like that, especially when they don't have a lot of options, Providence.
A lead off the mark. Here's Carter running downhill. Swing it to the outside. Durham against Soriano. No. There's Carter for the board.
Poked in the eye.
And he got poked in the eye, you're right.
I just have to give Jaden Pierre a lot of credit here. He made a couple of threes late in the first half. He caught that ball in the wing, could have shot it, but there were still 21 seconds to go. That's just a heads-up play. That's that maturation process that Kim English has talked about with bringing Jaden Pierre back. And one of the players that every coach he talked to, Kim English in the Big East, said you have to bring Jaden Pierre back.
A contingent of Providence fans who made the trip to MSG getting on their feet as the Friars hit another tray. 10-0 run and a 3-point game. Inside, it's Jenkins. No, pop back out. Soriano to clean it up. Pierre, baseline, tough take against Ledlam, and a pretty finish.
Well, I love that kid. I think he's one of those players in the Big East that's very undervalued. And this season hasn't had to really score the basketball. He's done a nice job of putting his team on his back at times tonight.
Pierre and Carter, the leading scorers for Providence. This entry pass from Jenkins gets away from Taylor, and the Friars have clawed their way back. We got a game, partner.
Yeah, Devin Carter understands what leadership means. It means making big shots at the right time. And this Friars team is finding it from every angle. 3-point game. Don't go anywhere.
Big East basketball is sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Since St. John's got up to a 2-0 lead, Providence has been playing catch-up. This is the closest they've been since.
Nicely done on the little promo there. Good job. Well, Devin Carter doing a good job as well. And then you talk about leadership. You talk about when a big player goes down, one of your best players, someone has to step up. But you know what? Sometimes your next best player has to be even better, and that's what Devin Carter has done. Not only scored the ball, but he's gotten other guys involved. He is the best, in my opinion, two-way player in all of America. And this is a Providence team that started 1 for 9 from 3. Since they're 4 for 5, and you know that is the difference. We hear it all the time. That 3-ball means so much, and Devin Carter's been a huge part of not just making those, but assisting those as well.
When Kim English first saw his film, he said he was the toughest player he'd ever coached in his career after he got to know him a little bit. Saw him from his time in South Carolina, and then from getting to know him from his time at Providence. A tough customer. He's leading the way.
And what guys like Devin Carter don't get enough credit for. Yes, they're tough, athletic, but he is one of the most intelligent players you will ever talk to.
Carter again. Tie up. Possession arrow favors the Friars.
Pretty good. That's a really good call.
Oh, so they just changed it. So one referee said jump ball, the other called a foul, and they are going to hold the foul on the floor here against St. John's.
I thought the initial call was good, the jump ball.
Jenkins called for the foul, his second. I saw what you saw, Don.
Yeah, led them with the tie-up, so the foul came before that.
Dual, what a crossover, attacking the rim and drawing contact, and the entire Friar bench off its feet.
Well, we talk about athleticism and every trick in the book, like R.J. Lewis on the other side. Dual is just as athletic, if not more. The length, the creativity, he just has to figure out how to settle in a little bit. And sometimes you get those younger players, it takes them a minute to understand timing and pace at this level.
Remember, he got into that altercation in the tournament in the Bahamas. Now, since then, his minutes have dwindled, his shooting has certainly drawn down, but he is a pure athlete.
And that was just two young players with a little bit of that AAU residue still in them, thinking you can say whatever, do whatever, and there are no repercussions. Well, you have to understand, when you get to this level, you're important. You represent not only yourself, but obviously your family and your teammates when you're on that floor.
14-2 run, and the Friars within one. They have not led tonight. Jenkins, all out of room. Leaves Lewis open. Got his man in the air. Lewis skips it off the rim. Friars into the front court. Carter, their leading scorer, gets hit. And he can certainly take that with him. All the work from Carter tonight to help claw the Friars back into this game.
Well, a couple of players for St. John's were in a home run trot getting back. And anytime Devin Carter catches that ball, you have to be in a full sprint to get back and help. And without Josh Oduro on the floor, it's such a smart play by Devin Carter to get his head to the rim as quick as possible.
Carter short from three, rebound Dingle. St. John's, it should be noted, already 5 fouls this half. Deflection from Dual. Dingle picks it up, and he ran into resistance from Rafael Castro. Carter behind the back, showtime to give the Friars the lead. Sensational.
Wow. I mean, we thought we've seen everything from Devin Carter. Woo! Goodness.
Soriano against Castro. Trying to bully his way to the low post. And that wouldn't go. How about the turnaround for PC in the second half? And frankly, from midpoint of the first half.
Without question, late threes from Pierre, and then they come out to start this half 10-0 run.
Castro with an awkward landing, so go back to St. John's.
I mean, again, you shouldn't be surprised when you see Devin Carter play, but Devin Carter, don't show him everything, man. Wow. Again, creativity, intelligence, instead of just trying to bowl through a guy, put your shoulder into his. Wonderful.
17 points for Carter to lead the way. St. John's 1 for 9 from the field this half. So that comes to a close with Dunlap getting back into the fray.
It's interesting, as soon as Carter goes to the bench, Jenkins makes a fantastic pass.
Pierre, spot up three. Looked like it got altered by Dingle. And a foul here as both teams tried to track down the loose ball. It's the 6th for the Johnnies.
Hey, this is awesome right here. See, the pressure just wasn't as strong there. Jaden Pierre maybe trying to get that second win. I mean, when Devin Carter's in the game, you understand what the pressure's going to be, and there can be no drop-off when their leader goes to the bench.
R.J. Lewis, just by the way, on that scrum, picked up his 3rd foul. The only player in real foul trouble for St. John. Pierre off the pitch from Oduro. Didn't get the switch. Pierre driving, rejected by Soriano, and Lewis stays in bounds. Lewis going to look against Carter, flips it up, wild take, and Carter gets called for the foul.
What a wonderful job by Joel Soriano moving those feet. Could have been a hook by Jaden Pierre, and I think St. John's is grateful that it wasn't, because now they get to the other end, they pick up another foul on Devin Carter, which if you're St. John's, you want to try to find a way to put Devin Carter into pick-and-roll situations.
They actually just corrected. It was on Oduro.
Okay.
It was the secondary contact.
That changes everything.
It does.
There. Now, Devin Carter plays one way, and it's important for him to stay out of foul trouble, but if he gets into that situation, that's when I think the Rick Pitino chess match starts to come into play.
So instead of a third on Carter, he has 2. Oduro has 2.
And look, I'm going to make a profound statement here. You get 5 fouls. And I know Kim English trusts his star to be able to play with 3 fouls, but it's uncomfortable if that was the case, but it's not.
I thought you were going to make a profound statement about the college game and only 5 fouls. That was on pins and needles.
No. Okay, keep it simple. Kiss rule. Stay in my lane.
Carter, there he goes again. Off the rim, no. Oduro, no. Third chance for Floyd and a fresh 20. Oduro against Soriano. Tried the drop step. Soriano stayed with him, and the rebound cleared by the Johnnies.
Really nice job there by Soriano. Getting challenged down low by Josh Oduro. Really has to be more active, Soriano. That motor now has to get to that next gear. Oh.
Turnover to Carter, and he's all alone into the front court.
There's really some lazy plays when Devin Carter is around defensively. It just can't happen for the Johnnies.
And we've been talking about it all night. Without Bryce Hopkins, Devin Carter asked to shoulder the load, and he has responded. Entry pass from Jenkins. Soriano, tough catch, gets hit, scores, and the foul.
Oh, the 2 leaders, the studs. That's like taking candy from a baby with Devin Carter. And at the other end, you have to find your big Joel, finishing strong.
Sunday on Fox, iconic rivals collide on Super Wild Card Weekend. Jordan Love leading the Packers against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, Sunday on Fox. You know who's also 100%? My boy Kevin Burkhardt.
KB is not 100% this time of year. I'm telling you right now, he's exhausted. I told you already.
He'd be ready to go for that one.
I don't want any teammates being 100% in January.
Tell you what, though.
It means they're not playing, Alex.
This is probably going to take a little bit out of each of these teams here tonight. It's been a fun one. Back and forth we go.
Look, I've said this before. I don't care who's on the sideline for Providence. I don't care what players put those uniforms on. That uniform is on the floor, on a body. It plays a certain way, Providence. It's what they've always done. Even back in the 1900s when I played against them, it was the same way. You knew you were going to get a fight. It might not be pretty all the time, but you needed to play 40 minutes, and St. John's has figured out right now, we let a good team back into this game who was going to fight to the end.
Soriano converts the 3-point play. 4-point game. Haven't seen too much of this pressure from St. John's. Or at least haven't seen it to effect yet. Pierre lowering the shoulder, twisting and turning against Lewis. Gaines with 4 to shoot. Gaines lost the handle, swiped away by Jenkins, and a shot clock violation.
And with that pressure, we have not seen a stop like that in a while from St. John's either, where guys are collapsing, they're helping defensively. defensively, a lot of communication. Take a look here. Without fouling, we saw a couple of jump shooters get fouled in the first half. Well, Rick Pitino said we're going to clean that up. It's a nice job right there. And Kim English saying it's okay. We're back in this game. Everyone stay calm.
First turnover of the half for Providence. Soriano will sit. Ejiofor back into the game. St.Johns led by Danis Jenkins, 11 points on the night. Jenkins gets away from Carter, inside Ejiofor.
It's a different style of drop coverage with Castro in the game versus Oduro. He's just not comfortable playing in that setup like Oduro is, and St. Johns takes advantage of it.
Unlock went for the steal. Back the backcourt to defend pretty quickly. Here, trying to get through the maze of bodies. And he's rejected by Lewis.
Yeah, just too much over dribbling, too much dribbling. Ball doesn't switch sides of the floor. Easy to defend.
Jenkins, nice pass inside. Ejiofor gets hits.
That's the second dime we've seen Danis Jenkins make towards the basket. That is just, again, this is when you step up as a big, you have to know you have help behind you, or that's an easy drop off. And then the defense on the other end, R.J. Lewis using that athletic ability, not just on the offensive end, but defense as well.
Ejiofor at the line. Jenkins, who enters the day second in the Big East in assists. Already with 6 tonight to complement his 11 points. Oduro back in with 3 fouls. Providence, which had been in the top 25 up until their loss to Creighton on Saturday. They've come back from down by as much as 15.
Really nice job with the pressure. Even if it's a little token, they're not probably going to try to jump and trap it. They're just trying to make Providence uncomfortable, take some time off that shot clock so they can get back into a zone set.
Hans has been quiet this half. Duo spinning into the lane, drops it off. Oduro punched away by Ejiofor. Skying in for the block. And this is a foul away from the ball. If it's on Oduro, it's his 4th.
That's big. This is where you almost want the young fella Dual to absorb some contact, try to get himself to the foul line, because when you send one up, the other one now gets over to your teammate you pass it to, and this is huge for Providence. Oduro has been their strength inside, and now it's a 6'6" and under league for Providence.
Jenkins buries a 3, and the lead is back to double digits. Timeout, Providence. Jenkins leading the way for the Johnnies with 14.
Not only one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history, but one of the greatest in out-of-bounds underplays is Rick Pitino. Simple play here. It's basically a give and go get. You throw it into your big, he hands it off to you, steps behind. Wonderful play and a perfectly timed, and a 10-point lead is big with 9.5 to play. And momentum for St. Johns.
13-2 run over the last 4+ minutes for St. Johns. They've hit their last 4 from the field. Friars had grabbed the lead, and St. Johns has ripped momentum right back. Jenkins approaching a season high. Those 14 points.
You know, really the only, there's not a lot of weaknesses in his game. I would say the only thing you'd love to see him do be a little bit better at shooting the three, but he's so effective in every other part of the game that you're okay with that because he can get you buckets other places. He is 4 or 5 tonight, and I think the freedom that he's been given by his other teammates getting it going allows that. Better shots, higher percentages, higher quality shots.
Ball off the shot fake. Pierre, give back to Carter, and a foul. And this will be a 1-and-1 here. The rest of the I shouldn't say the rest of the way. This will be a 1-and-1 for Providence here. They're in the bonus the rest of the way. Lewis with his 4th.
And Kim English is on top. He's on the refs over there. It's great. Doug Showers is on the sideline, and Kim called the foul. Same time the official called it, and then he told him we're shooting 1-and-1. As the official was walking to the sideline. Love when coaches are that engaged in the game, every aspect.
Carter hits the front end, as our friend Bill Raftery might say. He's a keeper in this league.
Really is.
Soriano back in, and Providence without Oduro. Let's see how this dynamic goes over the next couple minutes.
I don't know if it will affect him as much on the offensive end. Defensively, though, there's going to be a lot of switching and a lot of mismatches for St. Johns.
After Carter splits the pair. Dunlap, catch and release. Off the mark. Offensive rebound. Soriano punched away by Duval. Jenkins feeds the corner. A 3 from Aline. And Providence continues to light it up from outside tonight. Or St. Johns, I should say, lighting it up from outside. That is their 6th tray of the night. Carter looking to answer. Off the mark. Here's Gaines. No. And Ledlum. Whoa. Floyd just threw the ball back at Ledlum. And that should draw a technical.
And so again, Ledlum gives the ball to Corey Floyd Jr. and he throws it back. And look, now they never see the first one, they always see the second one. And nowadays they do see the first one because they'll go to the monitor.
Right.
But it's a situation where Corey Floyd Jr. has to, you have to take the higher road when you're down.
Yeah.
You're down a player, you're down in the game.
As we thought, they did get it correct and get the double technical in there after the personal foul, so they'll shoot the 1-and-1 first. Ledlum at the stripe here for the 1-and-1.
You know, it's a bad play by Ledlum. You don't need it. You got the foul. But then Corey Floyd Jr. Look, no one's going to just stand there and take it. Emotions, you understand it. And trust me, Alex, I'm the last one that should be talking about getting someone back. I had a memory like an elephant in games. I didn't forget anything, so.
Ledlum splits the pair.
There's just so much on the line for these players nowadays. It really is. And more importantly for Providence, they need every player on the floor that they have.
What is your memory like against Casey Jacobson? There's Castro inside unmarked.
I try to forget.
You try. 11-point lead. A terrific night for Jenkins. He dumps it off to Soriano. Gaines got a piece, and this goes back to Providence.
This is just Soriano trying to bring that thing back. When you cock it back, you got to know that's how the little guys can get blocks, but St. John's in control.
Rick Pitino, if you go to any of their practices, shoot-arounds, he really leans into the teaching aspect. Let's go into the St. John's huddle.
They're gonna play for steals on every play. You got to move this basketball and then drive. You try to run pick and rolls too early. You got to wait, create movement, then go downhill.
Yeah, that's really what Providence is going to try to do. They're going to try to pressure up, continue to try to get this game sped up so they can get downhill at the other end. St. John's, just be disciplined. It's what we've seen them do against Villanova. They've done it all season long in their big wins. Show that discipline this last 7.5 minutes. I love what Joel Soriano's talking about, but Rick Pitino understands it has to be more than just him. I mean, he's got a great staff. Steve Masiello's over there as his associate head coach. Ricky Johns, Van Macon, Bob Walsh. The other guy who, you know, he doesn't get a lot of love over there, but he did at UConn. There's a national champion, Talik Brown, played for Jim Calhoun. So you got some pedigree on that bench along with Rick Pitino to learn from. I always got to give my UConn guys a plug, man.
I was looking at the over-under on that tonight. Couldn't find a good prop on it.
Naheem Aline, I already mentioned him, won a championship with UConn. They're everywhere.
You're just satisfying the social media trolls. 11-point game. Here's Carter. 5 to shoot. Carter running out of time, driving right to the lane, puts it in, and the foul. And Devin Carter continues to carry the Friars.
This is a wonderful job by Castro down low, sealing off Joel Soriano right in the middle of your screen. Look at that seal. That allows Devin Carter to try to turn the corner with less resistance of a big back there ready to block it.
22 and 10 tonight after 25 and 10 against Creighton. He couldn't hit the free throw, and you mentioned that earlier. Could be an issue for the Friars here.
You talk about three-point shooting and rebounding. Yes, you need those to win games, but so many games are won and lost from that foul line. Too many, I should say.
50 dribbling from Aline. Picked up his dribble. Entry pass. Jenkins to Soria. Beautiful catch. Terrific finish.
What made that so special was he threw the ball to a place where only Soriano could catch it. And you know he's going to finish it the right way once he catches it from 0 feet.
This pass to Carter inside. A couple of pump fakes from Carter. Extra pass Pierre. And he'll bury a 3. The Friars will not go away. Approaching 6 minutes to play at the Garden. A timeout for St. John.
I mean, just take a look. No help on the backside, so he can throw it a little bit higher. Joel Soriano does the right thing with it, holding off Castro, and the help from Ticket Gaines just comes a little too late.
Jenkins 2 assists shy of a double-double. 8 assists, 14 points. We talk a lot about Soriano and his prowess, but Jenkins as a point guard, he's been wonderful.
Yeah, it's interesting. He just keeps it simple. For a guy with this much athletic ability and such a high ceiling, he just keeps the game simple. It lets it come to him. You know, I always say the great ones. I remember Paul Pierce said, as a Boston Celtic, I just give the game what it needs. And at this level, Danis Jenkins is that type of player. He just gives the game what it needs without, that just means he's never forcing the issue. Not going to play perfect, but you don't see him forcing a lot of plays.
Out of the timeout, Oduro returns for Providence with 4 fouls and 6:07 to go. Keep an eye on 13 for the Friars. Lob pass there, Soriano again, had to gather it and there's no basket. A foul on the floor. Devin Carter just trying to slash the ball out of the hands of Soriano.
Well, this is how unselfish Danish Jenkins is, and understanding that your big's got to get it going inside. He had Oduro on the perimeter in some foul trouble and decided to throw it over the top to Soriano. It's a heads-up play.
Double bonus. The rest of the way for both teams after this two-shot foul.
Sometimes
talked about the quiet first half.
Yeah. Sometimes guys who are that big have a hard time playing in a faster game with all these guards.
Slap off the mark here. Rebound Oduro. Carter into the front court and gains. There's that transition offense for the Friars.
Yeah, those buckets are great. We know that, but they're going to have to start to force the issue here with 5.5 minutes to play Providence. You can't sit back and allow the offense of St. Johns to just look over your defense. Need more pressure.
Jenkins kind of was fading towards a pass, wound up taking the shot.
But there was no pressure there.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have shot a three. Instead, he dribbles in one more time, shoots an elbow jump shot. Providence needs to pressure the ball as much as possible. It's the last 5 minutes.
St. Johns, the game still over 50% for the field. Carter puts down his dribble. Back it out to Pierre. Three off the mark. Rebound tracked down by Ledlam. St. Johns in no hurry here, under 5 to play. 9-point game. To the corner, a lean. A deep three, no. And a big collision underneath. I think this foul was whistled first.
Another laser pass with the left hand from Danish Jenkins, though. Lean just couldn't get it to go down.
And Ledlam got the foul first before the collision.
Little push on ticket gains.
Fourth foul. That sends the Friars to the line. They are just 50% from the stripe tonight.
You know St. Johns is good, again, one, when their building looks like this, but also when grandmothers are behind us yelling at the refs to take the whistle away from them.
I was trying not to say anything.
Try to turn my headset down a little. She's just so loud. But that's when you know that St. Johns is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Lewis with 4, Ledlam with 4. Oduro probably the most impactful of those on the screen in terms of that changes the rotation. 8-point game. Now pressure from the Friars for the token variety as Gaines backs off.
Yeah, and you're in control for St. Johns. Obviously, just take care of the basketball. You don't need to be in a hurry. That shot clock should be right around 7, 8, somewhere in there when you start your set. Or 11 with your center taking a three.
Yeah, he's 7 for 10 on the season. Oh, Carter, beautiful pass. Oduro gets hit, couldn't get it to drop.
Really nice job, though, by Devin Carter to 2-foot jump stop. The ball never stops, and so now you freeze Soriano a little bit, and you drop it off to Oduro, and Soriano catches up late.
Oduro, 82% on the season from the stripe. He's actually one of the best free throw shooters for the Friars this year. Fifth-year senior. Could have gone anywhere in the country, decided to stay with Kim English, transfer from George Mason.
He's really got it all. He's like a point center at times for Kim English, and not in terms of handling the ball in the perimeter, but his passing ability and how he tells guys to get to their spots. Really important to this team, even more so now without Hopkins.
Oduro splits the pair. Friars continue to struggle from the stripe. 7-point game, under 4 to play. St. Johns looking to get to 4-1. And Big East play and back into a share of first place. 6 on the timer. Lewis backing in against Carter. Lewis in trouble. Knocked down Carter. No call. Skips off the rim. Soriano, no foul. Backside of it. Dunlap in trouble as the whistle is sounded. He's going to hobble to the St. John's bench. Johnny's looking for some history, something they haven't done in quite some time. All right, Rob, yeah, UConn holding their high level of play despite the injury to Donovan Clingan just prior to the Christmas break. UConn also a half game out of first place. St. John's trying to get to 4-1 in Big East play. They have not done that. The start of Big East run since 2001. It's been a minute. Let's give you a little bit of a refresher. They started that year with a 4-1 record. Remember, the Johnnies have only been to the tournament 3 times in the last 20 years. Rick Pitino was still with the Boston Celtics. There you are, across town.
Right.
Who is that you got on the blow-by there?
Best defense Casey Jacobson ever played right there down the bottom lower part of your screen.
How about this? Gas was $1.46 a gallon. Wikipedia just launched. You definitely bought an iPod and loaded it up with Janet Jackson song.
Absolutely.
And how about those teams still in the Big East?
Think about that. BC, I mean, Miami was still in the Big East. West Virginia, Pitt, Rutgers. And you were what? What were you?
I was ripping it up with the Prospect Park youth, free-for-all baseball, over across town.
They had flip phones, so you couldn't give us a picture.
Exactly. Flip phone.
Your NIL deal wouldn't allow you to give us a picture.
I just want to look here where Brady Dunlap may have rolled his ankle here. And he went hobbling to the St. John's bench after that.
Well, you hate to see players with the ankles just because you never know how severe they are. He's walking around, so that's a good sign. But as a freshman, you don't want to turn your ankle when there's no one else around. I will tell you that, because you will get talked about in the locker room, especially if you're okay after the game.
That's right. Well, hopefully he is none the worse for wear. Soriano puts in the first.
Those are ankle sprains I get.
Yes.
When I'm just walking down my front pathway and there's nothing, it's flat ground, I turn my ankle.
I thought you were going to say
what happens when you get
fairway of the golf course.
Oh, that too? Well, no, you never want to get hurt on the golf course.
Well, Soriano hits them both. 9-point game. Friars trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. This crowded pack atop the Big East. Mike DeCourcy had 7 teams he thinks as of today to be in the tournament. There's Pierre. A lot of time coming off the clock.
A lot of time.
Need a good shot here. 4 on the timer. Pierre in trouble. Dual up top. Time running out. Dual heaves a 3. Got it! With the shot clock expiring. And it's down to 6. Steal by Carter up the inbound. Carter underneath puts it in. And where was the defense for St. John? They let him score. 4-point game.
A little lackadaisical too with the inbound pass. This is when you really have to get your guys set, get to the spot if you're St.
John's. 68-64. Lewis off the crossover. The fadeaway drops in for the answer.
That is a big shot for R.J. Lewis, especially when you had a mismatch down low with Soriano.
Duval floats it to the corner. And Gaines puts it on the floor. Carter, isolation, deep 3, way off. Gaines lunging for the rebound, box on the floor. Lewis in the front court, close down on late. Pierre, good recovery, forcing a tough shot, and it's out of bounds.
I thought Lewis could have dropped it off to Soriano running the lane, keep that head up a little bit, but also, look, you want to keep your foot on the gas, but if you're Dennis Jenkins, you don't need that pass ahead. You've just recovered the ball. Take your time. The clock is on your side. You get away with it because you get to shoot some free throws, but it's another teaching moment for Rick Pitino when he looks back at this game tape.
Pierre going for the loose ball there, committed the foul. So it's Lewis at the line.
At the line for St. Johns, number 12,
St. Johns, they've done a better job getting to the line since conference play began. It was certainly a point of emphasis for Rick Pitino in the non-conference portion of the season and has improved. Averaging 22 free throws attempted per game over the first 4 conference games. Dingle checks out, a lean back in. Lewis looking to extend this to an 8-point lead. And he knocks it in. Johnny's pressure. Wall breaks it to Carter. Under 2 minutes to play. Carter, a 3. And he buries it with a hand in his face. Timeout Providence. Kim English thought that Carter got hit as well on that shot. Man.
Yeah, really great concentration by Devin Carter. But again, attention to detail if you're St. Johns. What keeps Providence in the game here, the lack of communication on that weak side. Now, Lean just can't get there quick enough, and I think Devin Carter has an argument there.
Now, a career-high 27 points for Devin Carter.
Kid is just, again, he's just so special, and he worked so hard this summer. Take a look, that left. Yeah, that's a hit on the wrist. That should be an and one. But worked so hard on that 3-point shot. A different angle there. But he's going to need some help now. Still a lot of time in this game, and he really has put this Providence team on his back. And Tim English is doing everything over there to get as much as he can out of guys who aren't used to playing extended minutes.
Five-point game after the 3 from Carter. Lewis to key the inbound. Where was he going with that?
Well, he's throwing it off the back of a defender whose back was to him, and he got away with it. Not that clean.
Yeah.
Really not a time for trick plays. and that's what we talked about with their coaching staff. You know, those home run plays from Lewis. He's got to learn how to stay within himself.
That's surprising out of a timeout, too. 6 to shoot. To the wing, a 3 ball from a lean, short. Here comes Carter, 1:18 to go. Providence down by 5. Gains on the drive. Layup wouldn't go. Up for grabs, picked up by Soriano. And Soriano gets fouled. Devin Carter picks up his 4th.
I love that the 2 veterans are communicating. Soriano was upset by the foul. Devin Carter said, come on, man. It's basketball. You know what's coming. I love that. That's the difference between the youth we saw earlier throwing the ball at each other versus 2 veterans kind of talking it out. Love that sportsmanship there. 2 of the best players in the conference.
Now key free throws for Soriano. We'll try and make this a 3-possession game.
Fred Cole
on the first one.
It's nice to have a big who can knock down free throws for you late game.
73% on the season. 7 for 8 tonight. Splits the pair. 6-point game. Duo. 5 points on the night. Got some separation and puts it in.
That's a really good game. Really good defense by Lewis as well.
across the timing line. Dingle letting that clock dwindle down. Lewis took a look at the shot clock, enters to Soriano, who gets grabbed. Duval charged for his second foul. Soriano back to the line, just a reminder of foul trouble.
Soriano at the line for the Red Storm, shooting 2.
Boy. Well, Coach knows that. Joe, take your time. Always coaching no matter what. I love the passion. There you go. He's a different guy. You and I talked about it before the game. He just seems at peace, Coach Pitino, and winning is that.
Half a minute to go. Providence needs to hurry. Down by 5. Carter launches from 3, gets hit, and this time a foul is called.
St.Johns foul charge number 11, Joel Soriano, his second.
It was a point of emphasis in years past about players kicking their feet. Take a look at his lower body. Just out of your screen there, he kicks his legs out, which in years past, that would be an offensive foul. Just the intent of that is flopping in a way, and that's kind of gone away. Devin Carter just so smart, he understands. He asked for the last one, they didn't give it to him. It's this one.
Career high 28 points now for Carter. Team on his back tonight. He hits the second. 13 rebounds to go along with those 27. Career high in that category as well. Castro checks in for Providence. Oduro sits.
Still a lot of time for things to happen in this game. We saw how lackadaisical St. Johns was getting the ball in a few possessions ago.
Well, this gets tapped back to Providence. A tie up here. Jump ball, arrow to Providence. Oh boy.
How about Castro? Wonderful job fighting for that. And probably fortunate it was a jump ball instead of a foul call. Goodness.
Castro had just come into the game to replace Josh Oduro. And so it's Providence ball, down by 3 with 22 seconds left. And you have to figure Devin Carter will be a factor here. What a night for him, a career night with 29 and 13.
And really did a wonderful job of spreading the wealth. He'd score a bucket, he'd find a teammate, and his defense is relentless. He never gives up on that end of the floor. He really is an old school type of player. We've illustrated about his father playing in the NBA a long time and an assistant coach in the NBA. And he's got an old soul, Devin Carter. Plays both ends of the floor, the same intensity. And I would say if I'm St. Johns, you have to shade him and make someone else beat you if that's going to happen.
Providence just called their final timeout. St. Johns with 1 remaining. But this game all of a sudden is up for grabs with 22.8 on the clock at the Garden. This is what Big East basketball is all about.
Partner, you read my mind. I mean, it really is so good. As good as I think I've seen this conference in a long, long time.
Pierre to key the inbound. As the fans rise to their feet at the Garden. Inbound for Carter in the corner, had to juggle it, 20 seconds. Carter will draw it back. Will St. Johns foul? Carter attacking. They'll let him score. 9.8 to go. 1 point game. Johnny to inbound. And Rick Pitino will use his final timeout. (74-73) Providence down by 15 in the first half. Took the lead. St. Johns extended it back to double digits. But a late push here by the Friars. Let's check in with Rob Stone in the studio. Rob.
All right, Alex, I want to let you know that number 4 UConn and Xavier is currently airing live on FS2. You see the Huskies with that early lead. Tristan Newton with 5, Caravan with 3, Spencer with 3. Once they're done at the Garden, we'll take you right out to Cincy for coverage of UConn and Xavier. Guys?
Oh, yeah, Rob, that's another team looking to stay atop the Big East. Seton Hall a half game ahead after their win last night over Georgetown, but UConn and St. John's both with an opportunity to have shares of first place after tonight. So 9.8, St. John's to inbound the ball here in a 1 point game, Donnie.
Yeah, and what you have to do if you're St. John's, just get your best free throw shooter near the ball, maybe even inbounding that ball, and just secure it. The first thing you want to do is get the ball inbounds, and now Providence, they're going to have to foul immediately. Sometimes you would say, hey, we want to shade the ball a certain way. You got to take as little time off that clock as possible, so you really cannot be picky about who you're going to foul or send to that foul line. And this is a chess match. You have your best shooters on the floor if you're Rick Pitino and St. John's.
11,832 on their feet in Madison Square Garden. And look at this formation on the baseline. What is this, an onside kick?
Wild card weekend is upon us.
The inbound to Jenkins. Time coming off the clock. And Dunlap hobbling with that ankle is fouled.
There are a lot of ways you can mature in basketball, and none better than being a young player with the game basically in your hands at the foul line.
And cold, considering he's been sitting on the bench for a while.
With a bum ankle.
For a player that barely saw the floor the first month and a half of the season. One of the things Rick Pitino said about this kid at the shoot-around this morning is that he has no fear. He has a very short memory.
Well, it's a nice job by Providence fouling the correct person. They didn't want to foul Jenkins. They wait for him to pass it to Dunlap, and so far it's worked out for them. They still got to get this ball in and get downhill pretty quick.
Dunlap off the mark, and the second rebound, Lewis! And he's fouled by Carter, who has now fouled out.
How about that? What a great play by R.J. Lewis. 50-50 balls, and look where he comes from. Across the lane. Ticket Gaines fell down, couldn't keep a body in front of Lewis.
A career night for Devin Carter, 31 points. Their top scorer. And this will remain a one-possession game, assuming Providence has another crack with the ball. Their best scorer will be unavailable.
Well, we talked about how this staff loves R.J. Lewis. You know, they're still continuing to try to get him to play within some guardrails a little bit. But at some point, you have to let guys like that go, and you have to live with some of those mistakes, some of those decisions that you might not be happy with. Sometimes you got to let them go because of plays like this. You need them on the floor. Athleticism, activity, really just a wonderful, wonderful job. Smart play coming across the lane by R.J. Lewis.
Double checking the clock here with the foul. Depends on when that whistle was supposed to come, on the first hit or the second.
Well, the refs they're not looking at it. They're pretty confident in their call in that time.
4.7. R.J. Lewis, the UMass transfer, at the stripe. Pressure free throws.
Sometimes you got to throw those numbers out the window.
I know.
And if you're Providence, you have to get that ball in the hands of Jaden Pierre or Dual, the fastest players on the floor right now, and get downhill.
Keep in mind, neither team with a timeout left. Second one is good. 2-point game. 4.7 on the clock. Corey Floyd looking for the inbound. Gets it to Pierre. Pierre moving up toward. Time winding off the clock for the win. It's short. And St. Johns hangs on. The Johnnies improved to 4-1 in conference play for the first time in more than 2 decades.
What a grinded out game. Providence can't hang their heads, but St. Johns found a way to win. Again, led wire to wire their last game against Nova. They got hit in the gut a couple times in this game, and they held off Providence. Really well fought battle by both teams. Impressive. Alex,
actually not a bad look here for the win.
These are those games that you hate that someone has to lose.
Yes. Oh. Totally. What a game. What a game here at the Garden. What a crowd. What an environment. St. John's back into a tie for first place in the Big East. A 75-73 victory over Providence. What a game, partner.
Yeah, that was wonderful. Big East basketball at its best.
We'll see if UConn can join St. John's and Seton Hall in